Cool. This meeting is being live streamed. So I'm going to tell Che he's here.
All right. Well,
so he is here. And then whenever we get going, once we get up to 5 or 10 people, we can kick it off. But like I was talking with you guys in the chat, I think it would be a good idea because we have an actual list of somewhat of a list of topics today. So we can just do it for like 7-10 minutes. So we don't ramble forever like sometimes we do. Then jump on to the next one and then keep, maybe 1 or 2 viewer questions in between if our peoples have something they want to go about that. So that will be the plan for today. We got some fun stuff with the celebrity hit the fan survivor face off.
I am just getting set up with my stuff here.
Cool deal.
For the and everybody talks about having these strikers in their bug out bags. So I want to see today if I can actually get this thing going.
It's perfect. Shay, you there? I would think it was on my end before when it wasn't working. Still don't hear anything from you, but your little video screen's popped up, so we're good there.
I heard him.
I think so.
Okay, there, I heard you. Active.
Check. 1, 2, 3. How's the quality?
It's okay. Seems like it's potentially a little worse than last time, but it's not bad.
Oh.
I mean, last time I didn't notice it.
Let me try another headset. I'll be right back. Charlie.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's a little grainy. So like I was saying, okay, cool. We got a decent group of people here. How you doing, everybody? Shay's coming back on. He's messing with his, trying to get a good headset that'll sound well. Like I was saying, we got a nice actual couple specific topics. Normally we just show, I'm lazy, so I just show up without anything. We did a little bit of prep this time. We're going to try to move on with like segments and not just ramble about random stuff for endless amounts of time. We'll do like, 5 to 10 minutes on each topic, 15 or so if it needs it, and then move on. We got some fun stuff. I got a couple memes. We got a celebrity shit the fan survival face off. We got some good stuff. This one should be fun because this was recommended last time we asked you guys. So if you don't know what it is, I'm not going to ruin it. You have to stay tuned because it was suggested and it was a good one, so we went with it. So how's everybody doing? Keep stacking essentials to the rafter. Absolutely. That is one of the main things we're talking about in the beginning is like the Taiwan thing. So, and then Dan's going to start a fire up here live on stream if he can.
We'll see. We'll see how if it's.
I believe it. I believe in you. And if you can't, the next time you'll be on the "Will you survive?" shit the fan. You're like, well, he can't even start a fire with a striker. The one thing I've noticed about the strikers that makes it exceptionally difficult. It's not even the quality necessarily that makes the biggest difference. It's the size. If you have a huge one, like an 8-inch long one that's an inch thick, and they make those, it's a lot easier to start with that than it is with one of those little keychain ones. Because I've actually broken those off. It's like the size of a barely bigger than a matchstick and only about 1.5 inches long. Like I've snapped that in half just trying. And that's the type of
and that's the thing. Everybody thinks, like they were selling these little strikers at a place, and I bought a bunch because I was thinking to myself, people want to try to have this stuff, but they buy them, they throw them in their bug out bag, and they never use them until shit hits the fan. It's like then they're trying to start a fire. So that's why I brought lighters as well, to show people that how hard it is to actually start a fire with something like this. But
yeah, exactly. Because
you know what?
Go for it, Shay.
Sorry, Gareth. Go ahead, man. What are you going to say?
No, I was just going to reiterate that.
I was just going to hop in. Exactly, Dan. We've got a delay here. We'll interrupt. You got the floor, brother. You got the floor.
I'm done. I don't fuck with no delays. Okay, cool. Then we'll move on if you're really done. Like I said, we have an actual list of topic. The first one, which probably should be quick because I've already made my feelings known about it, was the dreaded monkeypox. They've officially declared it in a state of emergency, I believe, because there's 6,000 U.S. cases or something like that. But as you know, that's mostly a bureaucratic check the block. Making something a state of emergency gives them certain powers. That's why they want to do it. It's not because there's really that many people endangered from monkeypox, and it's all within certain communities. Let's put it that way. If you don't involve in, backdoor action with other dudes, you're at a very low risk for them, or involve people who do that. You're in extremely low risk. It's way more difficult and specific to catch than something like the respiratory illness that we've been dealing with, flu. You know what I mean? It would take direct close contact. You'd at least have to probably be wrestling with someone who has it to get it. So I don't think it's a big risk at all. And one of the things we wrote down was how are preppers preparing differently. I haven't heard from any prepper. You guys can see or let me know if you think it's different, but I haven't heard from any prepper who's done anything specifically for monkeypox.
Sorry, Shay, go ahead.
I didn't say anything, man.
Oh, sorry, buddy. I saw your map go up, or your picture, and I just figured, we haven't, it was kind of the biggest thing out here, probably 2-3 months ago about monkeypox, and now it's you don't hear anything about it anymore. So it's like, maybe it's forgotten about here in Canada or out in the West Coast. But then again, you still got these idiots wearing masks in their car all by themselves.
Yeah, I honestly feel like I've seen an uptick in people wearing masks, and I certainly don't think it's because of monkeypox. I just don't know what it is. But in the past few weeks, I feel like I've seen twice as many people out and about with masks on versus, a month or two ago. And we're in the dead of heat of summer out here. It's retardation for sure. Literally like 110 degrees, and you're gonna walk around outside with a freaking mask on.
That's crazy.
Yeah, stupid.
If you're gonna wear something to combat what you think is right, wear an actual mask that's gonna work.
Right. That's what I've said. Like, if I will accept that there's people out here who've decided that this risk is something that needs to be dealt with, like the COVID. But if you get to that point, like I have to fly and I'm afraid of getting COVID for X reasons, at least do something about it that would actually lower your risk of getting it. A real mask and wearing like all these actual steps you would have to take to prevent a respiratory virus. So the people who go all out with the suit and the gas mask on are actually kind of less delusional than the people who just always wear a cloth mask everywhere, because that's not doing anything. Because it's kind of, I look at least the N95s and the real mask or respirators, that sort of thing, are similar to like if I dressed up in a NASCAR flame suit to go drive around, you'd be like, all right, yeah, this does make you more protected. You're being kind of ridiculous in your evaluation of how risky this activity really is. But when you get down to it, yes, you're more protected with that suit on than you would be without it. So, okay, whatever, if that's what you want to do. But doing something, that's less than that, just out of fear, that's not even protecting you, like taping a pillow to your steering wheel or something and acting like that's making a difference. That's sort of a similar, kind of thing as to wearing a cloth mask.
I find that the people wearing cloth masks or paper masks in their car are the same type of people that put gemstones on their steering wheel to make it look pretty.
Claymore.
And those type of people are really worrisome in this world. But what can you do?
Yeah. I mean, that's it. That's the bottom line. I think there's enough stupid people out there that these things are always going to be an issue. But so monkeypox, I'd say myth busted, not a concern so far, anyways. Maybe it mutates and becomes some weaponized form of smallpox that you don't have to go to a gay orgy to catch it, and then we can reevaluate. But as of right now, if you haven't seen one up close recently, if you catch my drift, then you're probably not in too high of a risk, son.
Yeah, you're probably all right.
Yeah. So next on our list is what do you guys want to just jump right into the celebrity thing, or cover Pelosi in Taiwan first?
So
I'll tell you what.
Why not
Pelosi
I was
Taiwan?
thinking,
I'll dig up some stats for.
Yes.
I'll dig up some info on are the celebrities, and we can talk that, because I'm not even sure what happened. I didn't hear anything about Pelosi here in Canada. Did you?
Yeah, because nothing did really happen, and I'll go over it briefly. So it was mostly a U.S. political thing, but they had been, so the main issue is that Pelosi had scheduled a trip to go to Taiwan. I'm not even sure exactly why. That wasn't really put out there, just some sort of back and forth thing with Taiwan. And then the Chinese government came out and said, like, all this really intense rhetoric, like they're going to shoot down Pelosi's plane. If she goes there, it's an act of war, blah, blah, blah. And she went, allegedly. It seems like she actually did go. They, of course, did not shoot her plane out of the sky, which I don't think anyone who is semi-intelligent thought that was going to happen. But then on the other side, people now think that because they didn't do that, China was bluffing. And I think you have to not know too much about the Chinese and the way they act to think that they're completely bluffing. They've been engaged in what they consider unrestricted warfare with the United States since like the late 90s in terms of just like their plans, their backdoor sanction type activities. And they just operate on a totally different timeline than the Western world in terms of their plans. And I think it's also a mistake to think that they operate the same way that our politicians do. Like just because they don't care about their persons, like their individuals, people, that they don't care about their country or their people as a whole. Where I would venture to say that even the Communist Party in China cares a lot more about the continuity and survival and success of China as a country than our politicians do about America. They could give a shit if America survives or is prosperous or whatever, as long as they are. So that's the difference. And we've already seen Taiwan do some weird, potentially really damaging thing, or not Taiwan, China. Like they have it severely restricted, if not completely cut off, sand shipments into Taiwan, which doesn't seem like a big deal. Like sand, you can't eat sand, obviously, but it's a major element of producing the chips, the silica they need for semiconductors and chips, which Taiwan is one of the biggest in the world, produces a massive amount of the really high tech chips. Like other countries produce, ones that might show up in consumer electronics and, trinkets and whatnot, maybe even some cars, but any of the real high-speed processors, really small nanometer processors, that's a lot of that's being done in Taiwan. And that's why blockades and any sort of escalation there is just going to wipe out all sorts of industry because of that. You about to start a fire there, Dan?
It's probably not going to happen, but at least I'll be able to bust this myth.
Which myth is that?
That people carrying strikers are going to be able to start something, especially the striker.
What are you using for Tinder?
Well, I picked up some popsicle sticks.
I mean, what's gonna catch a spark?
Well, that's the thing. I think I got these little heater things that you can get at the
okay.
That shit that you can heat your
yeah, like a sterno can.
Holy fuck! Well, this is going pretty good too. So I also bought this gel shit.
Yeah.
And it is fucking on fire, right? You probably can't see it.
No, it's got one of those clear flames. If it's lit, I can't see it. Yeah.
But I just put my hand over it, and it is on fire.
Yeah, that's actually dangerous in the light because you can barely see the flame.
Yeah, exactly. But this might be something that's best to carry in a bug-out bag because, man, it is kicking off a lot of flame and a lot of heat. And, I picked this up for about $1.50 at the dollar store. And you can't really see it, but man, is it ever.
That's cool. You could cut off an inch of beard or something to catch a spark,
Well, that's true.
Yeah, prove it. Show us how dedicated you are. Dan.
Yeah, exactly. Show me you'll do anything to survive.
Fuck me.
Such a man can always be of use.
That is amazing how that's going. So yeah,
that's cool. So you're just going to do something off screen. You already cheated. You already lit something. So you're just going to do some stuff off screen and then be like, "Oh, look, I did it. Here's the fire."
I would never ever do that. I promise.
I'll answer a question here really quick from the chat where Donna says, "Have you had any water issues in Vegas?" And no, not yet. They've activated a lot of restrictions for people in terms of watering lawns. It's really the only one that I've noticed. I don't have a lawn. I think that's crazy to have a lawn out here. You have to put a lot of work and stuff into keeping it up. But what some people don't know is that we're in a bad spot in Vegas if the Lake Mead dries up, but we're not nearly anywhere near as bad a position as California and Arizona or the parts that use that, because we have a direct connection to Lake Mead. We don't have to use water that goes through the dam. So it can go a lot lower. Even the dead pool status that they talk about, that's when water can't get through the dam anymore. And we don't rely on that. And we actually have a treatment system where we actually send out most of what we use back to Lake Mead. And it's for like rebates and whatnot. So we don't actually are net that big users. We don't use almost any of the power from the dam as well. Most of that's for Arizona and California as well. So if it gets to dead pool status, Vegas won't actually be the one that's hardest hit. It will be California and Arizona, specifically the areas that use that power, and specifically a lot of agricultural users, because that's the biggest chunk that would probably get cut off. They're going to cut off all that stuff long before they cut off residential homes. You know, they'll just tell people, sorry, you can't grow peppers in the winter anymore to sell to all over the country. So we haven't had any issues here, to give you the short answer.
Compliment what you were saying earlier, Eric, with the Taiwan manufacturing computer market. I recall it, but I'm not sure if it was Taiwan or China. A memory factory had burned down years ago. I want to say 2013, and that had caused the stock market for the price of the product to jump up like 90% overnight or something like that. So I think there's certainly a lot more vulnerability in certain sectors that people are perhaps a little ignorant of.
Yeah, you've heard me mention. Let me see if I can get it. About how like 90% of generic antibiotics are made in China. So that's why I get my Jace case. I'll put the link in the description later. That's why I think that stuff's so important, because certain things like that you can't improvise. That if there is a conflict with China over Taiwan or anything else, like so many things that we need and use are just going to be impossible to get, because even if most or some or almost all of the steps are done here in the US, only one of them has to be reliant on China for that whole supply chain to fall apart. Like if one little piece or one little shipping box or anything is made over there, that throws the whole system into disarray and is at least going to make it harder to get everything.
Well, as an example, and this is, I wouldn't say necessarily prepper related, but again, to compliment what you're saying, I heard something about the carbon dioxide factory somewhere in the States is shutting down, and the price is going to go through the roof for carbonated drinks, including beer, as a result. So,
well, I thought beer carbonation occurs naturally as a result of the fermentation, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's I'm
but sodas and anything like seltzer waters and all the other stuff that. But I'm no beer expert, so I don't know.
I'm not the beer expert either. Yeah, I didn't make any, but played with some moonshine back in the day, I guess we'll say, some ethanol. Do we want to go through the stats here?
Yeah. So next segment. Do you want to? We haven't told you who it is yet, so you can. I'm not going to remind the people if they missed last week, so you get to operate with a little bit of mystery here for the Celebrities Shit Fan Survival Challenge.
Right. Well, we've got two individuals. They were together. They're not together anymore. She is an actress. And what can we tell you about her? How old is she? 35. Of course, I can't find her stats. Here we go. Born in Austin, Texas, 35 years old, lives in Los Angeles. Doesn't really have a lot of great life experience. Apparently, a swinger, we'll just say, 140 pounds, 5'7", slim body build, no survival skills.
She's 140.
Her name.
She's 140.
Amber Heard. Yeah, 137.
That seems high
pounds
for how she looks. So I'll give you a picture.
Yeah.
Where are we at? Let me get my live stream.
She's one of these girls she looks good now, but she's gonna age terribly.
This is her. Those of you, this is her in her slightly younger years.
I'll bring it up, man.
Yeah, you see it. There you go. And then who's the other one?
Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp himself. I don't have a picture of him. So the question is, who would have a better chance, right? Who would do better surviving the apocalypse?
Should point out too, he's almost 6.
Yeah, he's late 50s.
5'10", a little bit bigger. 70 pounds. He can do better there for sure.
What'd you get it, Dan?
I got her. Oh, sorry. Let me just put.
And what was your Tinder? Just the alcohol?
So the first thing I used was, I don't know if you can see it, but I used that blue stuff.
Okay. So you had a chemical accelerant.
Yeah. So the next one, I'm going to try this guy over here. Sorry to kind of ruin your guys' segment there.
It's all good. You created fire.
No complete disarray, complete disorganization.
So I totally fucked things up, guys.
Whatever.
I totally apologize.
Johnny Depp, who cares?
Yeah,
no kidding. Usually they do these things on camera, you know?
Right.
You don't just say, wow, I got it, and then start filming after the fact. But anyways, you're going to try another one there, Dan. Let's see it.
All right, we'll try this other one here. We'll put this down here. We'll tell me what you guys can see. Can you see kind of right in here?
Yep, I can see your little popsicle stick and greasy napkin.
So what's your beard?
Yeah, right. Well, that's a nice spray of sparks.
Talk, Dan. I can't see you.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Get a little closer.
So the other stuff worked pretty good.
You're definitely getting some decent sparks on it, so it must not be as easy to light as the other one. Oh, well, you're about to die of the cold. It's closing in on you.
I'm freezing. Oh my god.
All right. Well, what happened there, Dan?
It's called user error.
Yeah, that's probably it, man. I can't believe I got the first. The first one was an accident, and now.
So now
this is just redemption.
Now you're just gonna goop on more flammable stuff.
Let's see what happens here.
Okay, well, while Dan's dying in the wilderness,
freezing.
I will freezing to death.
There we go.
Oh yeah, there you got it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
All right, we got fire. Okay, so the question is, could Amber Heard or Johnny Depp do it? I think here's my assessment of our celebrity challenge. I think Johnny Depp is not a great candidate for survival, and I think he's fairly old, doesn't seem to be in particularly good shape, long history of substance abuse, and he's been rich for a long time, which could potentially lead to significant detachment from life skills, especially wilderness survival skills. So I don't think he would be very good at surviving at all. And while I don't think Amber Heard has any better skills in that sense, she is a very attractive woman. She's not quite the smoke show she used to be, but still pretty damn attractive. And she's very manipulative. So if she's willing to use that, which I think she would, fare pretty well. If there were other people around. If we're talking by herself, full-on zombie-pox or something, yeah, she's done. What do you guys think?
I think you hit that. It's funny because I was thinking the same thing originally, and I thought, I wonder how these guys would take it, because I thought you guys might give, everybody be rooting for Johnny. Go, Johnny, go.
Well, it's not about who I'm rooting for so much as who I just think will survive.
Sure, fair enough. Not rooting to say yay or nay. It's not like that. It's about if we're look at these objectively.
Right.
Because from a survival situation, irrespective if we like the person or not. And unfortunately, I came to the same conclusion.
Right.
Amber Heard would probably do quite well because she does have a look to her, and we're dealing with a highly narcissistic, self-centered, manipulative person.
Right. She might
And
be if this a
unfortunately,
straight up like true sociopath for all I can tell. You know what I mean?
the circuitry's off in
Yeah.
some way, shape, or form.
And
I
we
think
kind
she
of know
proved
she's
that in the
willing to
testimony.
use it because there's been other people talk. I think it was like Kevin Costner said that there in some movie they were in, she just like walked into his trailer with like her titties out, like trying to seduce him.
Okay, well, there
So
you
she's
go.
obviously like using it to her advantage for much less important
Yes.
reasons than literal survival.
Yeah, well, if you want to get Kevin Costner's attention, apparently, yes, she is. So,
Yeah.
in a woman like this is what they do. They use
Right.
their body to manipulate men into getting what they want. And most men, 80% of the population, 20% of the population of men would be happy. To
Right,
bend
especially
over
when you're as good
backwards.
looking as she is.
Exactly.
So,
Damn,
yeah.
But
So
anyway,
thoughts, man.
Well, so what do you think, Dan? Or is it unanimous? Would she survive better than Johnny Depp, or would he?
well, that's the thing, Johnny Depp was a pirate, and he probably could. No, you're absolutely right. You know what? When you're that rich for that long, you got a lot of stuff kind of given to you and stuff like that. It'd be a tough sell. Now, mind you, if Johnny Depp happened to I don't know, stumbled across, a female prepper, then, we could just say the same thing as Amber Heard.
That's true. He's got status, and be like, "Oh my God, it's Johnny Depp."
Yeah, of course.
But how many like single female preppers are out there?
Yeah.
Oh, buddy, there's more than us.
Are you sure about that?
Well,
let me.
I know my viewership on this
frame
YouTube
that
channel
for a
is an
second.
absolute sausage fest. So I'm not sure. Maybe that's just what I attract, but it's like 90% dudes. So
Well, most preppers are dudes. But here's the thing: if it was a situation where it was Johnny Depp or Amber Heard with people, I think people would bring in Johnny because he's just a cool dude.
Right. If it was a large
survive with other
group and they
people
were
because
all
they're
like, "Oh my
wow,
God,
you're the man."
yeah, it's Johnny Depp. Come into our
Right. Alone?
compound." Yeah.
On his own, alone in the woods, no death.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah,
Same
like
with
if they
Amber.
stumble
Like,
upon
they just
Johnny
wouldn't
Depp, they're
survive.
just going to shoot him or whatever. If they see some hot girl, she'd have a chance at using her wiles.
well, that's unfortunately that's just the way it is.
Amber with a group of preppers, Amber would manipulate.
Even if they didn't know, maybe even especially if they didn't know who she was, it'd probably actually be better off if they didn't recognize her, because then they wouldn't think of her automatically, be like, "Oh, it's that crazy bitch who shits on your bed."
That's true.
Or until her dog steps on a bee.
Right. All right. So it's unanimous then.
You guys just give me a
And Amber makes it.
I came up with this great concept. You could pretend to be a celebrity, create all the material now, photos and things like that. If the apocalypse were to occur, you could be like, "Hey, I'm part of that band."
You'd have to have like literal photos though, because the internet probably wouldn't be active.
Yeah, I wonder if you could use something like that to your advantage in a post-electric world. Anyways.
Right on.
Anyways, yeah, kind of crappy that somebody like Amber Heard would survive.
I mean, that's just game theory, It's like the hawks and doves kind of thing, or the bandits, as they call them in game theory. Someone who's willing to make basically selfish decisions without empathy can get better results in a system where most people are not using that strategy.
It's kind of odd though, because you guys both have standards, ethics, morals, and
So you think
it should be the people. So you think there should be a moral standard it should be the good people that are moving forward, but unfortunately it's survival of the fittest, and I think we just proved it with Amber Heard. Because why would you want people with that mindset to continue with humanity?
True. And also, I mean, there's some element to be said for if we're assuming she's going to go full on like dark side or whatever. If she just decides like, "Hey, I'm willing to give up the booty to shack up with some dude," that's not necessarily immortal or immoral, depending on your system of beliefs.
Fair. Yeah, I guess you're right.
We're assuming she would like wake up and stab him in the middle of the night and take all his stuff, which she might. But purely saying, "Hey, I'm an attractive woman. That's what I can offer. If you can offer me survival, let's hang out." That's not necessarily immoral.
Not much different from society today, and just replace survival with money, and then we have,
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. So the
Yeah.
same kind of thing.
Dan, yeah. Chime in, Dan. What do you think?
Well, that's what it is. It's basically, I think a lot of people would be like, oh yeah, finally a female I can finally hook up, or if the guy's married or what have you. Personally, if it's I always look at it, I'm taking food out of my kid's mouth. So Amber Heard or Johnny Depp, depending on what kind of skills they had, other than being famous,
Right.
will just get sent to the pig farm.
Yeah, I'd be like, if you're a trauma surgeon or, something like that, I'd be like, you know what, you might be useful. I don't think Johnny Depp's really going to offer much in a way.
Yeah.
He probably wouldn't even particularly be good at digging ditches or whatever other manual labor you need for. Did you get a splinter or something?
I got a splinter, yeah. So
from a popsicle stick?
No, from the this log right here. So I'm on the beach, eh?
It's definitely settled. Amber Heard would outlast Dan. In the
What are your tits?
Oh my god.
Don't pay attention.
Just
look at you.
Stop looking at me.
God damn it.
Oh man.
Maybe I'll do a fire starting thing next week or next time we.
Yeah, you got to redeem the show here. Come on, man.
Yeah, we got to bring it back to another level.
But you got to do something different, Shay. Like I don't know, set up a lean-to or drink water from a life straw. Maybe that's
yeah, drink some toilet water from a life straw or something.
You guys are crazy.
All right, so here's my next topic.
Right.
We're each gonna try to come up with one or two things that we think will become a lot more expensive or harder to get over the next year, and one or two things, if we think there are any, that might become cheaper or easier to get over the next 1 or 2 years. I can go first if you want.
All right.
So I think that most just food items will become a lot more expensive and harder to get, specifically grains, over the next year. I also think that depending on what happens with Taiwan, could be antibiotics, like I've already mentioned. I think that over the next year, I think real estate will be significantly cheaper than it is right now. And I think used cars will go back down a significant amount as well. That's my choices.
Holy cow. Well, geez,
So-
like you thought it out, and we didn't talk about this before. I've got no idea. What do you think, Dan?
Well, I think if our bumbling supreme overlord right now wants to ban fertilizer, so I think all types of foods are going to go up with that aspect, and probably the things that's and once you start doing food and fuel, then everything's going to start going up. Cheapest,
Yeah.
Wow, it's hard to say. What's cheap right now? Like nothing.
Right. TVs. I mean, honestly, TVs are the only thing I can think of that's actually like cheaper than they were, or still cheap,
Yeah.
And just because it's not something that anyone, but even those, if we get an issue with chips, those are going to go through the roof too. So maybe Intel stock, because they're one of the last few remaining domestic manufacturers of chips, right? Microprocessors. They might go up.
Bitcoin.
Could. I still think
they're going to be the least of our worries.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not because we need chips or need the electronics. It's that all these factories, even like tractors at farms, they're what use a lot of different types of chips. All that stuff's automated these days. Processing facilities for food, the trucks, shipping, all that stuff.
Yeah, we're in a weird time where it's in the manufacturer's self-interest to complicate, computerize everything, and it's partially motivated by money to look at BMW, for example. These vehicles are overly complex, unnecessarily so, for the sake of
Did you hear about the seats thing, where they started this thing where you have to pay a subscription for your heated seats, and if you stop paying, they like stop working. Yeah, I think they like scrapped it because it got such horrible negative press. But like they want to put everyone on this, you will own nothing and be happy, including the seat heaters in your own damn car.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah,
really?
It's incredible.
You got to pay a subscription.
Yep, like a monthly subscription for parts of your car to work. Yeah, exactly. I'd rather ride a bicycle than deal with that kind of tyranny.
I actually went out and bought an electric scooter, if you can believe it.
I can't believe it.
I'm in BC for too long, but I went out for a rip today on it, and I'll tell you, picked up a little Bluetooth speaker and
just chilling.
You know, for a guy my size and weight, this, you know, I paid about $1,000 for it, Canadian, so, you know, 24 cents American. And yeah, man, it was great. Like it's a lot of fun. So I can see where this electric thing is going, but you know, once everybody has one, or electric car or what have you, like some of the grids just can't handle it.
Yeah.
But sorry, I got off topic.
We gotta think bigger picture here, and I mean long term. There's going to be an energy crisis. There's going to be a food crisis. It's inevitable. I mean, we're not going to not start using less energy.
Right.
We're not going to start not using less food or being responsible for food. The population is getting bigger. The energy demand is going to increase, and the food demand is going to increase. So, you know, getting things like an electric bike, that's awesome, dude. You know what you should do is get like something to hook up your camera and go for a spin with on the show next time.
Yeah, and if you can also get a solar panel that could charge it within a day or two, that's like a legit setup for like getting around, like taking long walking distances and making them like, because one of those scooters goes what, 10 or 12 miles an hour probably.
25 clicks.
Yeah, so actually that's faster. That's more like 15, right? Yeah, so that's pretty quick. I mean, that's hell of a lot faster than you would be like walking or even running anywhere.
Right.
And it's even a sustained 10 or 12 miles an hour is like an all-out sprint for a lot of people. So that significantly expands your range for doing like errands and chores and stuff when gas is really expensive, or you know, all sorts of different scenarios.
So what are you saying, Shay? For the whole show, I'll just strap a camera to my helmet and I'll just keep driving around?
That'd be cool.
Playing Stevie Nicks, playing Fleetwood Mac or whatever.
Yeah, drinking my ocean spray.
Yeah, exactly. The ocean spray. Picking it up. Exactly.
I've been watching you wait for you to start a fire.
I love it.
Hey, I fucking did it. So.
You're like, I just needed about a fist-sized glob of alcohol gel.
No comment. No comment. Very well said.
That's funny.
Complete silence. Dude, no, actually, you know what? We do have to see that bike. That would be really cool.
Yeah, the scooter thing.
It's funny you say that because I work at a place where I put the solar panel there, and there's a gentleman that wants to drive his bike every day, like an hour and a half or something like that, and he wants to charge it off of this solar panel setup that I have. So it's maybe to complement that in the future, we'll get some video footage of you on your bike, Dan. That would be cool. And then follow that up with, you know, could this be sustainable? You know, batteries don't last forever, granted, but guess what? We have some sort of big issue with vehicles. It's just the price of fuel is unattainable. People are going to be doing stuff like this because people still got to get around, right?
Yeah.
Well, 100%. And you know, I find it odd.
Bike or an electric bike.
They keep pushing this renewable energy right now, but they can't recycle these wind turbines, and they're fucking putting them in the ground. Like, it's unbelievable the amount of stuff that's getting put into the ground with this renewable energy that's supposed to be so good for the environment.
Yeah, that's what people have been mentioning in the comments. If you've seen a few people, is about how this push for EV, it's like the grid can't even support it right now. Like this power that everyone wants to use is still coming from fossil fuels or nuclear, so saying we're not going to use a gas car because it's better for the environment isn't even necessarily true. And now they're having to, in parts of California and I think Germany, they're having to say you can't charge your car at certain times. They're going to have rolling brownouts to save the grid. And it's just an absolute joke. But that's why I think that if you get one of these scooters, or these, not electric car, obviously you'd have to have a huge solar setup, but a couple panels and a battery, you could charge one of those bike motors or your scooter motor. And that's a big deal. Because I mean, if you have electric car, even gas car, gas is way up, grid goes down, you still have with something that goes 15 miles an hour, you got your range is miles for a day, to go out and do stuff.
I'd almost think that if you got an electric bike, a couple solar panels, like Shay was saying, you have a cart now where you kind of are towing this stuff behind you. You can have a few days of food, a few days of water, and and maybe get to this location with your bike or cart or what have you. It'd be an interesting setup to see how well you could do it.
I was thinking about that too, actually, about like taking one of these e-bikes, going your range, whatever that is, maybe have a backup battery, and then you can still pedal them most of the time for the rest of the day, and then maybe spend the next day camped just to recharge the batteries, and just repeat until you get to where you're going.
It'd be interesting to see
about that scenario. You could, just like Eric had painted, I mean, if you do have some sort of portable solar system you can bring with you in a cart, even if you got to camp for a couple of days.
Yeah, they have bicycle cargo trailers.
Oh, I got to stay one more day. Yeah, well, I got to camp an extra day. I don't have enough power to whatever. Then it is what it is. I mean, that's the worst of your scenarios. That's still pretty good. It's still plausible, self-sustainable travel with an e-bike solar panel system.
Yeah, and it still functions. Most of them function fine as a regular bicycle as well. So you could have, if you have a cargo trailer, maybe the solar panels on top. If there is some sun out, you could potentially charge it while you're riding it, or just using it like a normal bicycle, and maybe go even farther.
Excellent point. They could be hot wired too, Dan. You got your Dan's. He's like, screw it. I'm not here. Left us with the sunset.
Yeah, he left. He was sick of us making fun of him.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Oh yeah, listen. I can take a river.
Well, he's just about the monkeypox, and all those people in the monkeypox community. That's all his buddies in that community.
Yeah, he's all broke up about it. Yeah, they're broken up about it. It's gonna have to be no more orgies for a week, so it's really cramping his style.
I'm gonna have to bang my best friend and eat a banana and hope for the best.
It's so crazy that they're trying to make normal people be scared of that.
Oh, it's just what a fucking shit show. But it's because people aren't scared of the corona anymore, right? So
yeah,
you got to come up with something better.
But it's not better. That's my point. It's much worse from a perspective of, like, that's why early on we would have these things and be like, this potentially could be a problem. If this thing's a respiratory virus, it's as dangerous as they say and spreads as easily as they say. And we were correct about how easily it spreads. Thank God we were it was not as dangerous as it first initially appeared, like fatality rate. And still look at how much the country shut down just from how many people died because of it. If it had actually had a 10% fatality rate or something, this country might not even exist anymore in terms of how instantly everything would have shut down.
It's odd. I don't think I think they lied about the numbers and they lied about everything else.
For sure.
And it's that's a whole other segment we all could get into.
Yeah, and that's what I talk to people. I'm like, regardless of whether you think they lied about it or were just wrong about it, either way, the data was crap. So it's like, why are you believing what they're telling you now?
Well, yeah, it's. I'll give you a perfect example. My dad, he's got his 4th shot. After his 4th shot, he's had really bad arthritis. Like he's sucks. Like, I don't understand how this is happening. I'm like, dude, it's the shot.
Yeah, exactly.
There's the side effects right there.
Yeah, inflammation, various types of autoimmune type issues. Yeah.
but he doesn't believe. He's just like, oh no, it's I'm getting older. I'm like, no, man, you didn't have to get your 4th shot, but you did it anyway.
Suddenly is now like an official cause of death out there. They're like, oh, another person died of suddenly.
Yes, adult sudden death syndrome.
Yeah, and it's like fucking. And they're trying to blame it on like cold. I saw an article that was like cold showers is resulting in more heart attacks in young people, and I'm like, are you fucking joking? Like,
well, I seen another one where this guy died of the news because he got an A on his math test.
Yeah, and that shocked him so much.
So holy fuck, man! Like who the fuck do you think we are? Like,
yeah, I mean, there's enough people falling for it though. Like, why would you know?
I guess it's kind of like those dudes that call you and say, "Hey, listen, your computer's all fucked up. There's a virus."
Give me your contact info. Yeah,
and we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
and those guys are still making money. So maybe it's maybe it has something to do with we're just a people of idiots.
Yeah,
I'm just going back to my car here so I can sit down and get out of the stand.
Well, we have any last minute topics you guys want to cover? Not last minute. We got a few minutes left, obviously. But you have anything topics you want to cover in the last 10 or 15 minutes? Here's a viewer question real quick. Kevin says, I've heard some experts say China currently does not have the amphibious strength needed for invasion, can only hurt Taiwan from a distance with unknown blowback. Yeah, I agree. I don't think they obviously don't have the Navy to do a full-on invasion of Taiwan. Certainly if we're actually trying to help Taiwan, but I don't think we would. And that's an interesting thing. Right before Pelosi's trip, the U.S. government came out and said, like, we do not officially recognize Taiwan as an independent nation. So to posture like we're going to defend Taiwan, like from what itself? You just said that it's part of China. So you know what I mean? Like there's no, what's our justification for going in there? And there's what would essentially be a civil war. So I think this Pelosi thing might have just been an excuse, like to purposely give China an excuse. Like you make some backdoor deal, say, hey, don't move away from the dollar so quickly, and we won't actually do anything about Taiwan. But she still goes to like save face for the U.S. and act like we care. And because we can't deal without not having the chips or anything either as a country. And they wouldn't have to invade Taiwan. They could just blockade it or just tell Taiwan, like, say, hey, you know what, you really want to do this? Because without the U.S., you're going to lose. Like, yeah, you'd be able to put up a decent fight because we've sold them so much weapons over the years, but they're not going to win against China, not long term. So, and they'd be like, look at what happened to Hong Kong. You just officially bend the knee and you'll be like your own little area like Hong Kong that's officially part of China, but you can still kind of do your own thing and you don't have to get obliterated. And they'll probably be like, all right. You know what I mean? That's how I see it going down. I see there's a very high chance that it goes down fairly bloodlessly, with just some kind of blockades of keeping resources from going in and out of it. It is an island, it's a fairly big island. I think it's about the size of the state of Maryland, but it's still an island. It wouldn't be that hard to cause them some real supply chain issues with the Navy that China does have. I think they do have like 3 aircraft carriers now, don't they? Or is it still 1 and they have a couple on the way?
You know what? I guess the question would be right now, if not Taiwan, but if China right now and said, okay, we want all the money you owe us right now to everybody.
Right. Yeah. Or to sell, like they have all these treasury bonds from all these different countries, including the U.S., so they just tried to cash them out. They could easily crush the dollar.
Oh, and it would be everywhere. Like it would.
Yeah, that would be huge ripples.
In their debts. It's like borrowing from the mob.
Right.
China's going to come over and break our legs.
Yeah, you don't want to owe them.
It's crazy. But
it's a very, very, very weird situation. We're dealing with a government that is clearly trying to do everything they can to control their people in very maniacal, like Stephen King, dark, weird ways. And we're still like we're just like kind of playing dumb to it, and because we're getting all this stuff real cheap, manufactured in China, right? Or at least that's the feeling I get from most people.
Yeah.
Most people tend to care what's happening over there, and who knows? I think there's a war game in play. Certainly they're not doing things like with this whole Taiwan thing, maybe there's ignorances within their own actions, but I think there's a bigger system or move at play here with respect to China and currency.
Yeah, I agree too. And
American dollar.
Like I think freedom by me homesteading. I think we've talked about this in the comment sections of one of my videos before too, and I just disagree. I know they have a very strong military, but to say that they are not blockadable, especially if the U.S. decides not to have direct involvement, like I'm not talking about like utterly seal off the island, but just with all that's going on recently with supply chain issues, you don't have to stop that many things going in and out of an island to completely disrupt. And to think that Taiwan isn't completely infested with communist like spies and things like that, and potential like malware already embedded in their systems and stuff already for just this type of scenario, I think is kind of naive. Like, they have people all up in there. And just even little bits of disrupting their normal flow and a little bit of blockading certain types of vessels and stuff from where they're leaving from. Which is, not even close enough to the island that they would be able to shoot at Chinese ships or anything. Yeah, like I'm saying, I don't expect them to physically invade. So
it's a shame because, you guys both served. I mean, you signed up for reasons that were based in, or I'm assuming based, there's integrity behind your motivations to defend your country. And it's a shame that, the spies and whatnot in Taiwan from China, these are people that virtually have a gun pointed at their head because their government has so much control over their actions. So even the people within their militaries and their, people don't sign up to the military in China because they want to,
we don't know how fervently a lot of the Taiwan. Like, I know obviously there's a lot of people there that would be willing to fight to the death for the independence and everything. But like people mentioned, like I mentioned, Hong Kong, and yes, like people were mentioning in the comments. I know it's not like free, far from it. But to say that people in Hong Kong would a lot of people would choose that over death. That's for sure. To just be like, look, it's not like they're coming. It's not like even Russia and Ukraine where they're coming in to like really take over. The cultures are very similar, and of course that applies somewhat to Russia and Ukraine, but it's not even as separate entity, that much of separate entities as Russia and Ukraine. It's much more similar,
right?
And it probably wouldn't be considered worth it by a lot of people there. But I don't know. I don't know any people who are Taiwanese. That'd be an interesting question to ask. How many people? Because he even said, like, even in the American Revolution, only 3% actively participated. So it's going to be like that in any situation. I don't know how willing, like Ukraine is straight up conscripting people and forcing them to go fight and not leave. Would Taiwan do that? Not that you could leave anyway, like I was saying, but it's a totally different situation. I definitely think China has the ability to easily make life miserable in Taiwan without having to fire almost any shots. Like just with the sand thing that they're doing now.
Right.
What if they just do only purely economic sanctions? They certainly have the ability to probably cripple them.
I think people would stand up and like not a lot of people would stand up and fight for the country. I look around Canada now and I just shake my head. There's a lot of fucking people here that are absolutely just useless, and they wouldn't stand up for anything. They would just get steamrolled, and then they'd complain about why am I getting buggered in prison? Well, because you didn't do anything.
Right.
So, a lot of people would stand up and fight for their country. I know that Taiwan and China, there's similarities and stuff like that. It'd be like Alberta trying to take over Saskatchewan. It'd be like, yeah, come on over, fuck, let's do this shit. And it would be like, drunken bar fight rules. But
right.
But who knows? Maybe people want to be a part of China. I can't believe I just said that on a live stream. But
well, I mean, I guarantee you there are some people, even if it's only 1 or 2%, there's still going to be some people. Like we have literal, communists in the U.S. and everything. So it's certainly not. There certainly is going to be some amount of the population that would be like, let's just go back with China. I don't want to deal with this. You know what I mean? There's a lot. It's a very common human trait to give up freedom and security for safety and stability. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's a very large percentage, maybe not a majority, but certainly a large percentage of the population that wouldn't be willing to go through what Ukraine's going through just to maintain their freedom.
I always find it it's people that don't know what they've lost.
Then yes, don't know what they want, and if you could sustain it for a generation or two, then you could almost indoctrinate the people to say, you know, being free is actually the bad thing. You need to be under control.
Yeah, well, that's what they're going through with the whole you want to own nothing and be happy. Like, what if China goes that route and starts saying like, oh, just, renounce your freedom and sign up for our China citizenship program, and then you get all this stuff or whatever. And how many people in Taiwan would do that? I don't know.
Just get this tattoo on your forehead, and everything's free.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, we see what they do with Russia, where China has so much leverage that they could exert if they felt like it. Like, what if they decide to say, we're going to not allow Visa card in our country if you service Taiwan? You know what I mean? Are any of these companies willing to die for Taiwan, let alone the people of Taiwan are, Yeah. What if they say, well, we're getting $1 billion in revenue from China and 200 million from Taiwan, Maybe they can get McDonald's to stop shit. You know what I mean? Like, how many of these people are willing to deal with that if they decided to exert max pressure, which I don't think they'll need to.
So I got a question for both of you.
You wanted to, please, you gotta chime in here, brother.
What's that?
Please go ahead, sir. No, I was just gonna say, like, please give us your feedback on that. But I wanted to bring this back full circle and to suggest, how does this confrontation affect us, really? Maybe we could kind of, I know we talked about it initially, but we could just kind of shuffle out there with just embracing the fuckery that is.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? A lot of it doesn't. It doesn't. But I was actually going to go completely. I was going to ask you guys, in the last 2 weeks since we met, what have you done for your preps? What have you done? Have you bought more stuff? Have you studied in some things, or?
Great question.
So I know for myself, so I've been kind of practicing with some of the stuff that I have in my room. And, last week I ate some of my like 2 weeks ago, I ate, that Rice Krispie square. It was horrific, but I got through it. But I went through some other things to make sure it's still good. And I did find some canned stuff that was not. I've had the cans for a couple of years, but as soon as I opened them, they had a different kind of smell. I wasn't even going to try to eat them, but I had to get rid of a bunch of canned goods.
Yeah, that's no good. What I've done is mostly relate. Like, I've definitely made sure I have a lot more food, stock that up, because I think that's going to be price wise, at least, even if we don't have issues with availability, which I think we'll probably have some. But in the US, even if we just mostly have major price increases, I want to prepare for that. So that was a big one. And then after that, I've tried to think of what things would be the most hard to get if there is some issue with China and Taiwan, something like that. Or even if just the Ukraine-Russia thing expands to, cause problems in Europe because of the gas pipelines and all that. So energy and just any stuff really that you get that could be affected by supply chain. So that's all your toiletries, certainly fuel. It's like gasoline. Try to make sure I have a couple dozen gallons of gasoline, and just normal toiletry type stuff. The usual paper or toilet paper, toothpaste, soap, just all that stuff. Just the ability to, operate, even if all this stuff. The power is the one that I'm probably the weakest on right now. I'm still haven't yet been able to get the little mini solar setup that I want to. So that's definitely the next major thing on my list.
Shay?
Yeah. A lot of organizing, actually cycling through older foods that some of the number 10 cans are questionable. I had cleaned out one of my locations, we'll say, and ended up with some number 10 cans from the LDS that I picked up let's just say a decade ago. And, some of the cans were good. The contents were like dried onions or carrots and things like that. And the surface maybe a little bit rusted, a little bit of condensation. So did some bartering and was able to get rid of some of my old food prep stores that could be used for chicken feed or whatever, right? For alternative purposes, not for human consumption.
Right.
But in terms of future preps, so one thing that I'm kind of dabbling with is insulating or reducing the sound of one location with respect to a generator, because we had a blackout not too long ago, and well, I was the only one with power on, and my generator was very, very, very loud. So looking at ways to reduce the loud imprint through foam pads, and I'm just looking at stuff locally that I could acquire, maybe to reduce the sound of this one area. So that's
cool. It's a good idea. Yeah, because I thought about that too, and I from like gas generators, and I just think that it's too. First of all, out here is just so perfect for solar in terms of the weather, and I'm in such a normal like suburban neighborhood that it would just be impossible to like hide a generator. And you'd have to have some batteries if you wanted to store the power anyway.
Sure. And this is, if there's a blackout, I'm not going to hop in my, like deck out and put war paint on with my.
Why not? That's what you're waiting. That's what we're all waiting for.
It's a temporary thing, but guess what? I love the luxury of doing this and having all the fucking lights on. Everybody else is taking a shit outside, or whatever. So it's nice, but I just want to reduce the auditory imprint.
You come out of the bathroom like freshly wiped with toilet paper, and you're just like, oh, full belly, lights all on, and you're like, what are you guys looking at?
Something like that. Yeah.
And they're all just like, okay, I see.
It's like you see in those movies when guys are lighting their smokes with, $100 bills and throwing it into the fire. Shay's out there with toilet paper,
He's like, this one has a little bit left, but whatever. Throws it away. Lighting your cigar with a roll of toilet paper.
All right.
Yeah.
No, it's not like that, gentlemen. Come on. Taking this too far. Like you do every time. When do you guys want to jam again? Are we going to do this next week? 2 weeks?
What day is it today? 2 weeks would be the 21st. Yeah, I think I potentially can do either, I think, as long as I know.
All right. We got to change up a few things, too. I think we need a new name. I think we got to start off something fresh and brand new.
Okay.
And, just my thoughts. What do you guys think?
Sure. Did you have one in mind? Or you just said you just want to come up with a new name?
No,
I'm always up
that out there,
for evolving, for refining my methods.
I thought I would fill that out with the. I thought I'd throw that out there too for maybe the audience input as well. The prepper trifecta seems a little too. I feel like it's different between the three of us, but listen, we can chat offline. 2 weeks, sure. I'm down for that. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the prepper trifecta has to be the way.
Well, yeah, we can tentatively schedule for 2 weeks for sure. So sounds good, guys. Thanks for watching. Sorry, we had a lot. I didn't have a chance to get to memes. What is the user? What are you talking about? Shay put a muffler. Yeah, you could put a muffler and make an actual building. That's what he's talking about. I have I like sell stuff online, so I'm watching this local auction because I'm having a bid on stuff that I think I can resell. So I don't while we're doing this, so I don't have a chance to pull up the memes. So we'll have to do those next time. I didn't have that many this time anyway, just like 6. So we'll roll those into the next one. So
we can put them on now if you want.
Well, I said I'm doing this auction thing, so I don't want to mess with that right now. I have to jump in at the last minute to snipe these sales to see if I can resell this stuff. So you got some races going on, Mad Max out there already?
Yeah, people with small dicks. Gotta show the population how cool they are.
Right. It is fun though. You should try it sometime. Just fucking laying down some rubber.
On my scooter.
Yeah, on your little electric scooter. Get this bad boy up to 19 mph.
Yeah, woo!
or 27 kph, whatever you guys use. Cool. Well, it was fun, gentlemen, as always. Thanks everybody for tuning in. If I didn't get to your question, sorry. I was having to watch this auction thing, like I was saying, so I couldn't read the chat the whole time. But yeah, it's tentatively planned for 2 weeks, and talk to all you guys later. Thanks a lot.